All right, next up we have Jon Soberg from Blumberg Capital. Jon has had a long career in venture capital and starting a company from the ground up. He was CEO, COO, and CFO of several companies that went public. Without further ado, Jon.
Okay, I just got off a plane. I'm a little tired, and so this may suck. So I just want to let you know. And I don't have any slides, so you can tell. I mean, how do you follow that? Anyway, I'm happy to be here tonight. And what I was going to do is tell you just a couple of things. So, you know, Adeo helps founders all day long around the world, and I mean, there's nobody better. So you need to really listen to this man. I sit on the other side of the table and I listen to founders a lot of my day. And so I get to hear pitches all the time. So what I'll tell you a little bit tonight is some things. It may or may not be 100% applicable for your pitches tonight, but if you do follow-up meetings with investors, just let me give you a little bit of advice for that. So that's, you know, let's start with the elevator pitch and then we'll go to the longer pitch. So with the elevator pitch, my biggest pet peeve is the people who spend 57 seconds out of their 1 minute pitch telling me how big the market is. And it happens all the time. Everybody's trying to talk about how they are in this massive market. We're kind of like this, and we're kind of doing this, and it's pretty similar to this, or we're Kickstarter for this, or we're whatever. And then by the time you get to almost the very end, you say, and then, you know, I've got a great team. And at the end of this pitch, I have no idea what you do. I don't know why you're different from anyone else, and I really don't have, you know, anything to go on. And then the ask is usually, so, do you want to have another meeting with me? And my answer is, I really don't know, and probably then that means you get pushed out on the schedule quite a ways. So articulate your business. Your business is the #1 thing you're talking about. I don't care about how it compares to Kickstarter. I don't care about how it compares to anything else. I really want to know just what you do, what is special about your business, and who you are. And the other way I can explain it to you is, think about this as not necessarily a marketing, an effort on your part. Think about this as a job interview. You are thinking about, you're talking to investors who are potentially going to invest in you as a person. So you need to convince me, or you need to convince investors, I am the right person for you to back, and I'm the right person for you to back in the industry that I'm going after. So that's your message. Your message should not be about how interesting the market is. Your message should not be about, like Adeo said, that your idea is so much better than everybody else's, because I've been on record to say this quite a few times, but realistically, you come in with the most unique idea that's totally different from the person who came in 30 minutes before and 30 minutes before and 30 minutes before. The reality is, I've probably seen the same pitch 10 times in the last week. Similar, not exactly the same. I know there's slight nuances, but the reality is, for me, it's about the execution, it's about the team, it's about building the company. The idea is not what wins. And you can go back over and over and over. And I mean, you can point to some of the biggest companies in the Valley. Google was not the first person, the first group to come up with search. Facebook was not the first social network. You know, there's example after example after example. So articulate why your team is going to be able to execute better than somebody else. And then the other thing for me, once you, say you get past this 60-second pitch, and I have to say also, I love the 60-second pitch format because it forces you to figure out what you want to say. If you have an hour, actually usually 59 minutes are not that important, because the minute that you talk about what you really do is the most important minute of the whole thing. So I think realistically, one of the things I tell entrepreneurs to do, practice your 60-second pitch. Actually practice your 15-second pitch, because if you see me in the elevator on the stairs on the way down, you want me to remember who you are and you want me to remember what you do. And that's actually more important than spending an hour. If you can get your point across in 15 seconds, you've actually accomplished a lot more than if you could talk for an hour about your company. So try to be able to be very clear, very concise, and direct. And then if you get to the next step and you're going to do a meeting, do some homework. Like Adeo said, the data in your pitch is one thing, But the other thing is, I appreciate very much if somebody actually has some idea what we do. So it's, and I can't tell you how often it is that I get these pitches from somebody. We're just, Blumberg Capital is an early stage venture fund. We do seed rounds primarily. So when I get somebody who comes in, or they call me, or they send me an email and say, you know, I'm trying to raise $25 million because I'm doing my Series C, it's totally apparent to me that they're either, you know, emailing every VC that they could find their email list somewhere, or they have zero idea what I do, or they think I work in New York for a big firm that's also tied to the mayor. But at the end of the day, I mean, and even the people who are really on target, if they don't really know that I'm good for them, or that I invest in a space that they're interested in, why are they the right? It's the same thing if you go into an interview and you don't know what the company does. I mean, that is essentially the equivalent when I'm thinking about it from an investment standpoint. So, you know, make sure you do your homework. It's one of the most, it's the simplest thing you can do in the whole thing, and it actually will differentiate you from about 95% of the people who come into my office. It's really actually true that very few people do any homework, and it's so important, and it generates that connection. I think, you know, the superlative thing that Adeo said was absolutely right on target too. Just show some numbers, explain that you've done your homework, prove to me and to everyone else that you know what you're doing better than somebody else. That's how I'm going to think that you are actually going to be the best person to do this, and that you're the person I want to back and work with. If you don't have that, if it's too vague, if it's too general, there's not much to go on. And then, you know, I think the most important thing at the end of the day is to just connect. There's, you know, be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to, you know, take on any kind of persona. I mean, present yourself. This is about you getting to know somebody else. This is a discussion, it's a meeting, it's for you to, you know, connect with the other people that you're connecting with. So be yourself. You know, don't try to do anything outside of that. Just, you know, come across as your normal, natural self, who you would like to be if I met you at a bar somewhere, not necessarily across the table. I guess that's basically it. I'm happy to, you know, hear some pitches tonight. I think it'll be fun. I hope Adeo doesn't have to throw water at anybody.